Everybody, DJ Lou here. We're going to talk about the Rane One yet again. Alright everybody, before we start the video, please navigate down, hit that subscribe button, make sure you ding that notification bell as well. Also make sure to like the video, and please, if you want to support the channel, head over to my Patreon page and subscribe. So every now and then I start these B-side videos to talk on, revisions of my opinions, or if I get some interesting feedback, new information, things like that. And with the Rane One, I definitely got a lot of mostly positive feedback, but some negative as well. But first, my Rane One video broke to my 10,000 watch faster than any video that I've posted before. So thanks everybody for spending the time to watch the video. But I did have some comments on it that, again, mostly great, absolutely great sounding mixer. Really lightweight compared to the NS7iii that I owned. I talked about the history and pedigree of it. But there seems to be a little bit of confusion. There's a little bit of anger because it's not a 4-channel. There's a few things. So let's start kind of knocking out some of these questions and comments. So first, the most frequent comment I got was, why isn't this a 4-channel? And literally, I've had people email me and message me, like angry at me because Rane didn't produce a 4-channel mixer. So first and foremost, I wish I had input in the design of the Rane One. It's almost an absolutely perfect design in my opinion. But to be completely honest, I am on the 2-channel bandwagon. I am not about 4 channels. I want to kind of dive in a little bit why. First, most people who use 4-channel mixers really don't mix 4 channels. The most common thing that I see is people use their 2 channels, to do their standard mix, but then they'll have like their mic routed to one of the channels, and then they'll have an auxiliary input on like their 4th channel. With the Rane One, you still have those capabilities. You have 2 mics to begin with, but the mic 2 is switchable. So this way you can either go in with your combo jack with a mic input, or you can come in with your RCA. So people who are using iPods, iPads, a music player, something to feed off in as an emergency channel, you have the whole mic 2 side, and you can actually have both your mic and the RCAs in, and then you just flip over for what you want. So you still have that control to begin with, and you do even have an EQ on that as well if you want to kind of color the sound a little bit. But what people seem to be using 4 channels more, kind of a more discrete mic input and an auxiliary input, you get that with the Rane already. And the way that InMusic has kind of set everything up now, Rane really is kind of like the 2-channel scratch DJ OG. You got your 12s, and yes, somebody even pointed out that the 12s can actually flip between 2 types of decks. But Rane doesn't have a 4-channel mixer in their lineup anymore. Long gone is the 64 and 68. What you have now is the 70 and the 72. And I think this is kind of purposeful. I think that Rane is, they're kind of now dedicated under the InMusic umbrella to be that real scratch DJ, type of company. Now, what these people are complaining about with the lack of a 4-channel controller with a moving platter. But if there were ever a 4-channel motorized controller, I would expect it under the Denon brand. Now, do I think this is likely? I don't think so. If you go 4 channels, and especially if you kind of combine something in like basically an X1800 mixer, the 5000s or the 6000s, you're adding some significant weight. And some people are already complaining about the weight of the One, and the One is a featherweight compared to the NS7iii, almost 10 pounds lighter. You would be adding most likely a bit of weight, even if they went with an all-plastic design. I just really think that this might kind of tilt towards the real extreme end of portability. This doesn't mean that it won't ever come about. There's always that possibility. There seems to be a lot of desire for the motorized platter and a 4-channel. But my gut instinct says that there'd be 2 distinct pieces, one of them being in the Rane battle mixer, the purest style, format, and the other with the 4-channel more towards, I would say, the Denon brand. Now, I was lucky enough, I actually emailed Rane, and I actually got some feedback on some of my questions and whatnot. They saw my video too, so I was so glad they were able to actually see it even before I even posed these questions to them. But probably my biggest complaint, and again, my complaints are very nitpicky. This is not a showstopper. But given how stiff the up channels are, I asked them, what could we do about it? And they recommend red deoxit, the D series. This should be able to lube it up more. Again, these are not user replaceable to begin with, but this should hopefully loosen them up some. I've actually ordered some. I haven't tried it myself, but this is what they recommend. Now, another thing that I had mentioned about the Rane One is I needed to boost up a little bit on my Soundcraft digital mixer, the gain coming in, because it was just a little bit on the quiet side. Definitely not, anything bad or anything like that. But if anybody's plugging in from their controller right directly to speakers, and let's say they have the NS7iii perhaps, there would be a very significant difference. The NS7iii is absolutely loud and not in a good way. It's very noisy to top all that off. So I had made a note that I felt that it was just a little quiet. And I asked them where their unity point would be on the mixer. And they actually do say 12 o'clock. They say at the full 12 o'clock position is plus 15 dB gain on it, but unity is at the 12 o'clock position. Now, I'm not going to dispute what they say. And there doesn't seem to be a ton of additional gain when you are going past the 12 o'clock position. All I have to say is, if again you're plugging directly into speakers, I think you would get a little bit more quieter experience than some. Now, they say that this is the same structure as the 70 and 72 and prior mixers. I could not verify that with my Rane 62, unfortunately, because I'm running modern OSs on Mac. They're all 64-bit, and I can't hook it up. The control panel won't allow me to pass through on the 62. It does, and again, this is purely, just my experiences over the years. I think the 62 was a little bit louder, if anything. That being said, again, this is pretty much really a non-issue. You can always, for instance, bump up the gain. I got my Evolve right behind me. You can always bump that up if necessary. Or, if you're like me, I like to go through a digital mixer anyways because I like to control my mics. And I definitely need more than just a 2-channel control my mics. Plus, I like the individual adjustment, walking away from my booth and all that. So that's my design, and I have absolutely no problem with it. I think the card sounds absolutely excellent. Just the note that, again, my perspective when I was doing my test, I had to bump up my gain on my digital mixer to match that of my Reloop Elite, and I actually had to bump down compared to the NS7iii. So just a reference that I found in my examinations. Now, some people wonder, including myself, is this the same sound card that you would see in, say, the 70 and 72? Now, the language I got is that it uses a Cirrus Logic converter that's in it, and that they're the same specs as the 70 and 72. Now, you could look into that and say, oh, they could be two wholly different sound cards. That's a possibility. But I think from a practical standpoint, it'd be kind of foolish for Rane to, pull parts bins from one side and parts bins from another. They're going to want to kind of keep it the same just from a cost perspective, a design perspective, a quality control perspective. So my guess is they really are the same sound card with a Cirrus Logic converter. That's part of it. But that's the language that I got. You can parse that the way that you would like. I'm in a total mindset that these really are the same sound cards. Now, this comment originally came from Reddit. Somebody had said, oh, the Rane 12s, they're using the same motors as the NS7iii that somebody had taken it apart and all that. Look at this video, but they didn't link a video to me. And I still have yet to see what the 12s have to begin with. And what's in the One is supposed to be similar to what's in the 12s. But let's take this back a little bit. The NS7iii motors were just really good. They were really torquey. They had a great feel to it. I have no qualms if they decided to repurpose what the NS7iii had and throw that also into the 12s in the Rane One. You know, somebody was talking about, you know, this is bull, you know, all this stuff. It's a non-starter. The 12s feel amazing. The One feels amazing. Whether it was a redesigned motor, if they took it from the Denon parts bin from the 5000, 6000s, or if they even started a completely new motor, it's a really great feeling platter no matter what way you flip it. So one thing I noted in my review is the mic sounds really, really good. You know, it has plenty of gain on it. You don't need a preamp in between, you know, even compared to my Reloop Elite, and definitely the NS7iii. The NS7iii is just unusable. But I was curious, are they using the same preamps as other Rane models? And they said that across the board, they're using this same IC hybrid design for their mic inputs. And so, you know, in the end, I think the 70, the 72, the One all basically have the same exact configuration between them all. So if you're curious if the 70 or 72 sounds the same, they should sound the same. Again, the Rane One was hands down my favorite of everything I have in-house right now. Somebody had said, I think it was on the Facebook thread, that, oh, you know, this is just kind of repurposed NS7iii. And I don't really think that's the case at all. Yes, the pedigree is there, the idea, the concepts of the moving platter in a controller form. It definitely is related to that in every way. But parts-wise, feel-wise, there is a definite difference in it. The platters feel even better than the NS7iii, and I think that's actually just slip mat size. The platter is a 7.2 inch as opposed to the 7 inch, and you'll be surprised what just a little bit of additional size will do on platter control. Layout, again, the layout is wholly different. It's not the mirrored layout that you see on a lot of controllers and what you see on the NS7iii. But everything, the crossfader, the feel, the structure, this really is miniaturized 12s and a 70, of course minus like internal effects, in this nice compact format. So another complaint that I had heard is the lack of internal effects. So why do you need internal effects on a controller? Now, granted, some people like, whether it's Pioneer, Rane, whatever, that they like some of the internal sounds. I really do like the ducking echo of my Rane, the 62 specifically. But you can tweak your effects, whether it's Serato, you can get different effect packs. Virtual DJ, you can also tweak out all the parameters per effect. You can get these to really sound pretty much exactly the way that you would want it. So this complaint about the lack of internal effects really seems like a moot point. Most people are not going to use this as a DVS controller. You can. I gave it a try. It definitely works. But you know, from a practical purpose, there really was no need for internal effects. So again, you can absolutely complain about this all you want. Most controllers, there's really only a few controllers that even have built-in effects. And I can see those because those aren't moving platters. If you want to have some type of internal effects because you're also doing DVS and you want to have some vinyl type control on that, totally get it. But this is really meant kind of as, again, the all-in-one. Why do you need internal effects? One of my final thoughts now, a few more weeks with the Rane One, and I'm still amazed by it. And I try not to say that lightly or anything like that. I don't want to, you know, spend money on things that I don't need. I'm always very particular. You know, I do my research on lots of different stuff and make sure that my purchases are really solid and for a specific purpose. For this, for me, of course, the shedding of the weight, a little bit more smaller profile, the way it sounds, the way it feels, all made sense for me to do the upgrade. And I've been able to do a few shows now with it, again, it's been a great, great controller. Again, it took me a couple days to kind of get used to the layout. You know, I've switched between my NS7iii, my 12s, and my Reloop, and they're all great, but they all have a little bit of a different assortment and arrangement of buttons and all that. So it took me, of course, a couple days to really kind of get super familiar with it, but definitely after those couple of days, everything seems very natural. I love the compactness of it. I love the sound of it. And if anybody's been on the DIY DJ group on Facebook, they see I'm actually making a custom case and table for this. And part of that was I wanted this kind of table layout to begin with, even way back a couple years ago. But because of the one size, it actually kind of forced my hand to change my design up a little bit. So I can't wait to actually put out a video on my build. I've actually got just to the side here. But if anybody wants to see me working on this kind of in progress, I'll link below the DIY DJ group so you can kind of watch that. And there's a lot of great DIY projects that you see on there. But back to the One, I've been absolutely just super happy with my purchase. I still highly recommend it for anybody looking to upgrade from the NS7iii and doesn't need the 4 channels. Again, the whole 4-channel controversy. Anybody looking that aren't happy with, say, the Pioneer sound and all that, but want a good rock solid controller, this definitely is for you. You know, the scratch DJ who wants some more portability in their sets, this is definitely for you. Really, I would say who this is not for, again, is the 4-channel people who have, say, a beat machine in their workflow, or they're doing something special where 4 channels is an absolute must. Yeah, this is not the controller for you. But I think for a lot of people, this is a great fit. It's a great upgrade for a lot of people, and it's been for me. Well, there's the B-side video on this. Maybe, who knows, maybe I'll do one more later on down the road. But if you liked it, make sure to hit that thumbs up, hit subscribe on the channel. It really helps the algorithm. If you want to help support the page, head over to my Patreon page and subscribe. And of course, if you see reviews of videos like this and want to see more, check out everything on my channel below. Enjoy, everybody.